Hello, hello, internet family. I'm just sitting in the park. Lots of children running around under my tree. Yay. This is the same one I used to record in years and years ago, and I always come visit her when I'm in Los Angeles area because this is my home tree. I love her so much. Anyways, I wanted to record a quick little video about something a lot of people have been asking me about lately, which is how to connect to fairies. To fairies. So the way I understand it is fairies are real. I did not always believe in fairies. I was not raised to believe in fairies, and yet I had this year, back in 2012 actually, now that I come to think of it, when I had lots of experience that made me believe in fairies and taught me how to interact with them. And so there are a couple tips that I can give you. First off, if you would like to believe in fairies but you are not sure that you do, then the way to do it, and even if you do already believe in them and want to connect with them more, is go out to a natural space. Spaces that feel generally magical and lovely are great for this. You can just look around and see big, old, gnarled trees, spots where there's a lot of moss, things like that, places that just feel that little extra bit magical. It's very likely that there's fairy energy. It's very likely there are fairies there. So yeah, use your best sense to figure it out. And then once you get there, just mentally connect. Just sit for a moment, get quiet, mentally connect. And again, the fairy realm, one of the reasons, for instance, that children can see and interact with fairies so easily is that fairies are not highly analytic creatures. They're more feelings-based, emotion-based, yumminess-based. So, for instance, you can leave them little treats or, ooh, they like that, treats or gifts. You can, say, gather a bunch of leaves or flower petals and make a little mandala picture for them. You could leave little bits of yummy food. And I mean little bits here. Some people might be concerned about the wild animals in the area eating it. So if anything, if you're worried about that, leave a tiny, tiny bit of something sweet or delicious, or just something that you think that they might like, something that makes you feel yummy. Because if you're asking these beings to interact with you, especially because historically humans have not really been very kind to beings in the other realms, they might be a little shy, they might be a little nervous. So show that you are willing to connect by offering something. And then once you do, just mentally reach out and say, come connect with me, teach me how to talk to you. If you're real, show me that you're real. I want to learn, I want to know. Be humble with it. Because although they may be small, some of them are huge, like mountain fairies and great big tree ones. But even though they might be small, they're powerful. They help control the weather. They help control earth things. So, for instance, if you live on a specific, I was going to say specific and particular, so particular part of land, then it's really, really powerful to connect with the fairies there. And there are all different kinds of fairies. There are a bunch of different types. Wow, there's really a cacophony of noise going on here, you guys. I don't think it's a coincidence. Anyways, it's smart to interact with the fairies on your land because they're your neighbors. So why wouldn't you, You might as well. And also, when there are things like storms coming through or deep freezes or really hot times or whatever it may be, it's nice if you can communicate with the nature spirits around you. So then go back regularly from time to time, and you can either give more offerings, you don't have to, you can just ask and be open and say, teach me how to communicate with you, come talk to me. And this is great when you're contacting fairies or angels or spirit guides or anything non-physical. Talk to me loudly in ways that I can understand, that are specific and unique to me, that I know are you and that I can't explain away. Boom. Those are powerful. Just this morning, for instance, I was doing this yesterday. I've been doing it for years, but every now and then I feel like re-upping myself with my connections and the angels and the non-physical beings. And so I've been calling out for that. And just this morning, I was at the beach doing my morning yoga, and right in front of me, coming out of the ocean, I saw a person-sized rainbow. Did not go and arch up into the sky. It was the size of a person right in front of me. It made me catch my breath. I saw it with my physical eyes. And I really think that it was something non-physical making itself physical from the higher dimensions coming down. So that's an example of how it can happen. It's more likely that you're going to find little coincidences, little synchronicities, maybe pictures, maybe some type of activating synchronicity. Who knows? The day that after I found out there were fairies, I called a friend from my hometown who does not necessarily believe in the stuff that I believe. And we were chatting about various things, and I said, hey, so I just found out yesterday that there are fairies in the apple orchard behind my house. I know it's weird, but it's a whole thing, and it just happened. And I could prove to you in a million different ways because that's what I needed to believe, but now I do. And she said, well, okay, Karis, If you start saying something about unicorns, then I'll be worried. But fairies, I believe. It's funny because now I totally believe in unicorns too, although at the time I didn't. And so the next day, so one day I found out about fairies. Day 2, I told my friend from back home. Day 3, my friend from back home went to visit her child's teacher for an open house, I believe, at her school. And her child's teacher, who was aware that she and I were friends, said, "Hey, you and Karis are still friends, right?" And my friend said, "Yes, we are." And she said, "Okay, great, because I have this picture on my wall that I've been holding for 20 years that Karis drew when she was in the 6th grade, or painted rather, because it was an acrylic painting. Can you give it to her?" And my friend said, "Sure, okay." And do you guys know, it was a picture of a white flower with a little girl standing up in it, yawning and stretching like she had just woken up in a white dress. It was a fairy that I had drawn when I was 12 that disappeared out of my reality for over 20 years and came back to me. Well, not quite 20 years at that point. Now it's been over 20 years. And then came back to me the day after, 2 days after I had found out about fairies. So little things like that might happen, or you might get a bunch of different proofs. Who knows? But if you want to connect with fairies, go ahead and do it. They are real. Do your research. As I understand the fairy realm, they are beings with consciousnesses somewhat like ours, but rather than figuring out technology the way we did, they figured out the art of the glamour, which doesn't necessarily mean beauty. It means having things look a certain way. And so they can camouflage themselves and blend in different ways. And so they can choose to be seen or not seen. You can be surrounded by them and you'd never know. So once you start communicating with them and opening up to them, who knows how they're going to show up for you. Tips. If you live in the city, especially deep, deep city, get a lot of houseplants, because those are like condominiums for fairies. It's nice for them to be able to ground there. If you live out in the country, I'm sure there are magical spots around where you can find them. And also, here's a funny little trick that I used to do, and it might have driven the people around me nuts, I will admit, but it totally worked for me and was really a magical addition to my life for a while. I would, when I ate a meal, I would take a little plate that I had as part of a little tea set that I borrowed from a friend. You don't have to go this hardcore with it. You can just set it aside. And I would take little portions of the food, tiny, tiny little portions of the food, and make a little plate for the fairies. And I would sit it at the table with me, and then when I was done, I would take it outside and leave it for the animals. And I had some really magical things happen. Also, if you really want to call fairies in, especially like the flower fairy type with the wings and the dresses made of flowers, that kind of thing that you see in storybooks a lot, you can watch A Midsummer Night's Dream, the one with Michelle Pfeiffer and Rupert Everett in it, and Calista Flockhart's in it too. Watch that, and also make that little side plate for a fairy with snacks and leave it somewhere that they can see the screen. And I swear to you, it is very likely that you will feel the fairy presence if you do that. I know it sounds crazy, but it worked for me. So feel free to play around with this. I'm tossing around the idea of making another Connecting with Fairies class. I did one a few years ago with another YouTuber friend, and it's not available anymore. So I'm thinking about re-recording with the new that I've figured out since then. So let me know if you guys might be interested in that, and if you are, I will make one. Also, let's see, the classes that are up right now, I offer them once a month, are Getting to Know Your Oracle Deck and The Art of the Mystic. So if you're interested in either of those, go check out my website. I've got a couple workshops too. One of them is aura cleansing, and the other one is the Merkabah Workshop. I finally did it again, years after YouTube mysteriously took it down. I still don't know why that happened, and I've never gotten it officially explained, but there's another one now, and it's up. So if you guys want it, you can get it on my website. Anyway, sending you so much love from Southern California. I'm here for another week or so, maybe longer, I'm not really sure, and then back on the road, either going back east or not. There is a June Secret Sedona tour, and I'm also planning a small and intimate weekend goddess retreat in Sedona for, I think, November, and I will let y'all know when that's up. It's going to be pretty amazing. We're going to go deep. It's going to be cool. So I definitely know that those of you who are supposed to be there will be there. And there are always more events, so don't beat yourself up if you can't make it to one. There will be more. Okay, sending you guys so much love. Another view of my beloved tree, Nostalgia. And may you have the most beautiful connection with the fairy realm and with the elemental realm and natural realm in general, because we are creatures of nature. We are of this earth. We are part of this earth. And so sending you love as that. And take care of yourselves, take care of your heart, take care of your bodies. Happy full moon, and I will see you later. Bye.